the NEET-UG examination. It will mainly be NCERT based, and I'll try to keep it as short as possible. You can watch or listen to it any way you want to. Repeated text, repeated listening to the text would actually help you memorize it. And also at the end of every video, I've also made notes to break down and revise important topics systematically. So without any further ado, let's begin with today's topic, which I've chosen: reproductive health. Now, what do we understand by this term reproductive health? It simply refers to healthy reproductive organs with normal function. However, it has a broader perspective and includes the emotional and social aspects of reproduction also. According to WHO, reproductive health means total well-being in all aspects of reproduction, that is physical, emotional, behavioral, and social. Therefore, a society with people having physically and functionally normal reproductive organs and normal emotional and behavioral interaction among them in all sex-related aspects might be called reproductively healthy. Reproductive health problems and strategies. India was amongst the first countries in the world to initiate action plans and programming at a national level to attain total reproductive health as a social goal. These programs, called family planning, were initiated in 1951 and were periodically assessed over the past decades. Improved programs covering wider reproduction-related areas are currently in operation under the popular name Reproductive and Child Health Care programs. Creating awareness among people about various reproduction-related aspects and providing facilities and support for building a reproductively healthy society are the major tasks under these programs. With the help of audiovisuals and print media, government and non-governmental agencies have taken various steps to create awareness among the people about reproduction-related aspects. Parents, other relatives, teachers, and friends are also a major role in the dissemination of the above information. Introduction of sex education in school should be encouraged to provide right information to the young so as to discourage children from believing in myths and having misconception about sex-related aspects. Proper information about reproductive organs, adolescence, and related changes, safe and hygienic sexual practices, sexually transmitted diseases, AIDS, etc. would help people, especially those in the adolescent age group, to lead a reproductively healthy life. Educating people, especially fertile couples and those in marriageable age groups, about available birth control options, care of pregnant mothers, postnatal care of mothers and child, importance of breastfeeding, equal opportunities for the male and the female child, etc., would address the importance of bringing up socially conscious, healthy families of desired size. Awareness of problems due to uncontrolled population growth, social evil like sex abuse and sex-related crimes, etc., need to be created to enable people to think and take up necessary steps to prevent them and thereby build a socially responsible and healthy society. Successful implementation of various action plans to attain reproductive health requires strong infrastructure facilities, professional expertise, and material support. These are essential to provide medical assistance and care to people in reproduction-related problems like pregnancies, delivery, STDs, abortions, contraceptions, menstrual problems, infertility, etc. Implementation of better techniques and new strategies from time to time are also required to provide more efficient care and assistance to people. To legally check increasing meanings of female feticide, massive child immunization, etc. are some programs that merit mention in this connection. In aminosynthesis, some of the amniotic fluid of the developing fetus is taken to analyze the fetal cells and the dissolved substances. This procedure is used to test for the presence of certain genetic disorders such as Down syndromes, hemophilia, sickle cell anemia, etc., to determine the survivability of the fetus. Research on various reproduction-related areas are encouraged and supported by governmental and non-governmental agencies to find out new methods and or to improve upon the existing ones. Saheli, a new oral contraceptive for the females, was developed by the scientists at Central Drug Research Institute in Lucknow. Better awareness about sex-related matters, increased number of medically assisted deliveries, and better postnatal care, leading to decreased maternal and infant mortality rates, increased number of couples with small families, better detection and cure of STDs, and overall increased medical facilities for all sex-related problems, etc., all indicate improved reproductive health of the society. Significantly improve the quality of life of the people. However, increased health facilities along with better living conditions had an explosive impact on the growth of population. The world population, which was around 2,000 million in 1900, rocketed to about 6 billion by 2000 and 7.2 billion in 2011. A similar trend was observed in India too. Our population, which was approximately 350 million at the time of our independence, reached close to a billion mark by 2000 and crossed 1.2 billion in May 2011. A rapid decline in death rate, maternal mortality rate, and infant mortality rate, as well as increase in number of people in reproducible age, are probable reasons for this. Through our reproductive child health program, though we could bring down the population growth rate, it was only marginal. According to 2011 census report, the population growth rate was less than 2% in 20,000 years, a rate at which our population could increase rapidly. Such an alarming growth rate could lead to an absolute scarcity of even the basic requirements, that is, food, shelter, and clothing. In spite of significant progress made in those areas, therefore, the government was forced to take up serious measures to check this population growth rate. The most important step to overcome this problem is to motivate smaller families by using various contraceptive methods. You might have seen advertisements in the media as well as posters / bills, etc., showing a happy couple with 2 children with the slogan "Hum do, hamare do." Many couples, mostly the young, urban, working ones, have even adopted an one-child norm. Statutory raising of marriageable age of the females to 18 years and the males of 21 years, and the incentive given to the couples with small families are the two of the measures taken up to tackle this problem. Let us describe some of the commonly used contraceptive methods which help prevent unwanted pregnancies. An ideal contraceptive should be user-friendly, easily available, effective, and reversible with no or least side effects. It also should in no way interfere with the sexual drive, desire, and sexual act of the user. A wide range of contraceptive methods are present available, which could be broadly grouped into the following categories, namely natural, traditional, barrier, IUDs, oral contraceptives, injectables, implants, and surgical methods. Of ovum and sperm meeting. Periodic abstinence is one such method in which the couples avoid or abstain from coitus from day 10 to 17 of the menstrual cycle, when ovulation could be expected. As chances of fertilization are very high during this period, it is called fertile period. Therefore, by abstaining from coitus during this period, conception could be prevented. Withdrawal or coitus interruptus is another method in which the male partner withdraws his penis from the vagina just before ejaculation so as to avoid insemination. Lactational amenorrhea, absence of menstruation. Method is based on the fact that ovulation and therefore the cycle do not occur during the period of intense lactation following parturition. Therefore, as long as the mother breastfeeds the child fully, chances of conception are almost nil. However, this method has been reported to be effective only up to a maximum period of 6 months following parturition. As no medicines or devices are used in this method, side effects are almost nil. Chances of failure, though, in this method are also high. In barrier methods, ovum and sperms are prevented from physically meeting with the help of barriers. Such methods are available both for males and females. Condoms are barriers made of thin rubber latex sheet that are used to cover the penis in the male or the vagina and cervix in the female just before coitus, so that the ejaculated semen could not enter the female reproductive tract. This can prevent conception. Nirod is a popular brand of condom for the male. Use of condom has increased in recent years due to the additional benefits of protecting the user from contracting STIs and AIDS. Both the male and the female condoms are disposable, can be self-inserted, and thereby gives privacy to the users. Diaphragms, cervical caps, and walls are also barriers made up of rubber that are inserted into the female reproductive tract to cover the cervix during coitus. They prevent conception by blocking the entry of sperms through the cervix. They are reusable. Spermicidal creams, jellies, foams are usually used along with these barriers to increase the contraceptive efficiency. Intrauterine devices. These devices are inserted by doctors or expert nurses in the uterus through vagina. These intrauterine devices are presently available in non-medicated IUDs, example Lippes loop, copper-releasing IUDs, CUT, CU7 multiload 375, and hormone-releasing IUDs, progesterone, LNG20. IUDs increase phagocytosis of sperms within the uterus, and the CUINs release suppress the sperm motility and fertilizing capacity of the sperms. The hormone-releasing IUDs, in addition, make the uterus unsuitable for implantation and the cervix hostile to the sperms. IUDs are ideal contraceptive for the females who want to delay pregnancy or space children. It is one of the most widely accepted methods of contraception in India. Oral administration of small doses of either progestogens or progesterone estrogen combination is another contraceptive method used by the female. They are used in the form of tablets and hence are popularly called the pills. Pills have to be taken daily for a period of 21 days, starting preferably within the first 5 days of menstrual cycle after a gap of 7 days during which menstruation occurs. It has to be repeated in the same pattern till the female desires to prevent conception. They inhibit ovulation and implantation as well as alter the quality of cervical mucus to prevent or retard entry of sperms. Pills are very effective with lesser side effects and are well accepted by the females. Saheli, the new oral contraceptive for the females, contains non-steroidal preparations. It is a once-a-week pill with a very few side effects and high contraceptive value. Progesterones alone in combination with estrogens can be used by females as injections or implants under the skin. So just one differentiation which I think is important, that pills, normal pills and Saheli are two different kinds of pills. Normal pills are taken for a period of 21 days while Saheli is used once a week. Yeah, that's it. Their mode of action is similar to that of pills and their effective periods are much longer. Administration of progesterones or progesterone-estrogen combination of IUDs within 27 hours of coitus have been found to be very effective as emergency contraceptives as they could be used to avoid possible pregnancy due to rape or casual unprotected intercourse. Surgical methods, also called sterilization, are generally advised for the male/female partners as a terminal method to prevent any more pregnancies. These are the two diagrams. You can see in vasectomy the vas differences. As part of vas differences is cut and tied up, and here fallopian tubes are cut and tied. Okay. Surgical intervention blocks gamete transport and thereby prevent conception. Sterilization procedure in males is called vasectomy and in females it's called tubectomy. In vasectomy, a small part of the vas deferens is removed or tied up through a small incision on the scrotum, whereas in tubectomy, a small part of fallopian tube is removed or tied up through a small incision in the abdomen or through vagina. These techniques are highly effective, but their reversibility is very poor. It needs to be emphasized that the selection of suitable contraceptive methods and its use should always be undertaken in consultation with a qualified medical professionals. One must also remember that contraceptives are not regular requirements for the maintenance of reproductive health. In fact, they are practiced against the natural reproductive event, that is conception pregnancy. One is forced to use these methods either to prevent pregnancy or to delay or space pregnancy due to personal reasons. No doubt, the widespread of use of these methods have a significant role in checking uncontrolled growth of population. However, their possible ill effects like nausea, bleeding, or even breast cancer, though not very significant, should not be totally ignored. The Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act, so pregnancy may be terminated on certain considered grounds within the first 12 weeks of pregnancy on the opinion of one registered medical practitioner. If the pregnancy has lasted more than 12 weeks but fewer than 24 weeks, two registered medical practitioners must be of the opinion formed in good faith that the required ground exists. The grounds for such terminations of pregnancy are: the continuation of the pregnancy would involve a risk to the life of a pregnant woman or of grave injury, physical or mental health, or there is a substantial risk that the child were born, it would suffer from such physical or mental abnormalities as to be seriously handicapped. MTP, which is medical termination of pregnancy. Intentional or voluntary termination of pregnancy before full term is called medical termination of pregnancy, MTP, or induced abortion. Nearly 45 to 50 million MTPs are performed in a year all over the world, which accounts to 1/5 of the total number of conceived pregnancy in a year. Whether to accept/legalize MTP or not is being debated upon in many countries due to emotional, ethical, religious, and social issues involved in it. Government of India legalized MTP in 1971 with some strict conditions to avoid its misuse. Such restrictions are all the most important to check indiscrimination and illegal female feticide, which are reported to be high in India. Why MTP? Obviously, the answer to get answer is to get rid of unwanted pregnancies, either due to casual unprotective intercourse or failure of contraceptive use used during coitus or rapes. MTPs are also essential in certain cases where continuation of the pregnancy could be harmful or even fatal to either to the mother or the fetus or both. MTPs are considered relatively safe during the first trimester, that is up to 12 weeks of pregnancy. Second trimester abortion are much more riskier. One disturbing trend observed is that the majority of MTPs are performed illegally by unqualified quacks, which are not only unsafe but could be fatal too. Another dangerous trend in the misuse of amniocentesis to determine the sex of the unborn child. Frequently, in the fetus is found to be female, it is followed by MTP. This is totally against what is legal. Such practices should be avoided because these are dangerous both for the young mother and the fetus. Effective counseling on the need to avoid unprotected coitus and risk factors involved in illegal abortions, as well as providing more healthcare facilities, could reverse the mentioned unhealthy trend. Transmitted through sexual intercourse are collectively called sexually transmitted infections or venereal diseases or reproductive tract infections. Gonorrhea, syphilis, genital herpes, chlamydiasis, genital warts, trichomoniasis, hepatitis B, and of course the most discussed infections in the recent years, HIV leading to AIDS, are some of the common STIs. Among these, HIV infection is the most dangerous and discussed in detail in chapter 7, which we will be doing too. Some of these infections, like hepatitis B and HIV, can also be transmitted by sharing of injection needles, surgical instruments, etc. with infected persons, transfusion of blood, or from an infected mother to the fetus too. Except for hepatitis B, genital herpes, and HIV infections, other diseases are completely curable if detected early and treated properly. Early symptoms of most of these are minor and include itching, fluid discharge, slight pain, swelling, etc. in the genital region. Infected females may often be asymptomatic and hence may remain undetected for not long. Absence or less significant symptoms in the early stages of infections and the social stigma attached to the STIs deter the infected persons from going for timely detection and proper treatment. This could lead to complications later, which include pelvic inflammatory diseases, abortion, stillbirths, ectopic pregnancies, infertility, or even cancer of the reproductive tract. STIs are a major threat to a healthy society. Therefore, prevention of early detection and cure of these diseases are given prime consideration under the reproductive health care programs. Though all persons are vulnerable to these infections, their incidence are reported to be very high among persons in the age group of 15 to 24 years. The age group is to which you also belong. There is no reason to panic because prevention is possible. One could be free of these infections by the following simple procedures given below. Avoid sex with unknown partners, multiple partners. Always try to use condom during coitus. In case of doubt, one should go to a qualified doctor for early detection and get complete treatment if diagnosed with infection. Infertility. A discussion on reproductive health is incomplete without a mention of infertility. A large number of couples all over the world, including India, are infertile, that is, they are unable to produce children in spite of unprotected sexual cohabitation. The reason for this could be many: physical, cognitive diseases, drugs, immunological, or even psychological. In India, often the females is blamed for the couple being childless, but more often than not, the problem lies in the male partner. Specialized healthcare units could help in diagnosis and corrective treatment of some of these disorders and enable these couples to have children. However, where such corrections are not possible, the couples could be assisted to have children through certain special techniques commonly known as ART, which is assisted reproductive technologies. Fertilization outside the body in almost similar condition as that in the body, followed by embryo transfer, is one of the such methods. In this method, popularly known as test tube baby programs, ova from the wife donor and sperms from the husband are collected and introduced to form a zygote under suitable conditions in the laboratory. Zygote or early embryos with up to 8 blastomeres could then be transferred into the fallopian tube, ZIFT, zygote intrafallopian transfer, and embryos with more than 8 blastomeres into the uterus, IUT, intrauterine transfer, to complete its further development. Embryos formed by in vivo fertilization, fusion of gametes within the female, also could be used for such transfer to assist the females who cannot conceive. Transfer of ovum collected from the donor into the fallopian tube, which is with now this process is called GIFT, gamete intrafallopian transfer. So transfer of an ovum collected from a donor into the fallopian tube of another female who cannot produce one but can provide suitable environments for fertilization and further development is another method attempted. Intracytoplasmic sperm injection is another specialized procedure to form an embryo in the laboratory, in which sperm is directly injected into the ovum. In infertility cases, either due to inability of the male partner to inseminate the female or due to very low sperm counts in the ejaculates, could be corrected by artificial insemination technique. In this technique, the semen collected either from the husband or healthy donor is artificially introduced into the vagina or the uterus of the female. This technique is called IUI, intrauterine insemination. Though options are many, all techniques require extremely high precision handling by specialized professionals and expensive instrumentation. Therefore, these facilities are presently available only in a few centers in the country. Obviously, their benefits is affordable to only a limited number of people. Emotional, religious, and social factors are also determinants in the adoption of these methods. Since the ultimate aim of these procedure is to have children, in India we have many orphan and destitute children who would probably not survive till maturity unless taken care of. Our laws permit legal adoption, and it is as yet one of the best methods for couples looking for parenthood. Now, covering up the whole chapter, summary is also very important. In NCRT, I'll go through the topic very quickly. Reproductive health refers to the total well-being of in all aspects of reproduction, that is physical, emotional, behavioral, and social. Our nation was the first nation in the world to initiate various action plans at national level towards attaining a reproductively healthy society. Counseling and creating awareness among people about reproductive organs, adolescence, and associated changes, safe and hygienic sexual practices, sexually transmitted infections, including AIDS, etc., is the primary step towards reproductive health. Providing medical facilities and care to the problems like menstrual irregularities, pregnancy-related aspects, delivery, medical termination of pregnancies, STIs, birth control, infertility, postnatal, child and maternal management is another important aspect of the reproductive and child health care program. An important and an overall improvement in reproductive health has taken place in our country, as indicated by the reduced maternal and infant mortality rates, early detection and cure of STIs, assistance to infertile couple, etc. Improved health facilities and better living condition promoted an explosive growth of population. Such a growth necessitated intense propagation of contraceptive methods. Various contraceptive options are now available, such as natural, traditional, barrier, IUDs, pills, injectables, implants, and surgical methods. Though contraceptives are not regular requirements for reproductive health, one is forced to use them to avoid pregnancy or to delay or space pregnancy. Medical termination of pregnancies is legalized in our country. MTP is generally performed to get rid of unwanted pregnancies due to rapes, casual relationship, etc. As also in cases when the continuation of the pregnancy could be harmful or fatal either to the mother or the fetus or both. Infections of diseases transmitted through sexual intercourse are called sexually transmitted diseases. Pelvic inflammatory diseases, stillbirth, infertility are some of the complications of them. Early detection facilitate better cure of these diseases. Avoiding sexual intercourse with unknown multiple partners, use of condoms during coitus are some of the simple precautions to avoid contracting STIs. Inability to conceive or produce children even after 2 years of unprotected sexual cohabitation is called infertility. Various methods are now available to help such couples. In vitro fertilization, followed by transfer of embryo into the female genital tract, is one of such programs and is commonly known as test tube baby program. Chapter starting from reasons why population is increasing because of rapid decline in death rate, maternal mortality, infant mortality, and second point is increase in number of people in reproductive age. Natural methods to avoid pregnancy: periodic abstinence, which is between 10 to 17 days of menstrual cycle, withdrawal or coitus interruptus, Lactation amenorrhea, up to 6 months after pregnancy, during the time the mother is breastfeeding, the chances of pregnancy are almost nil. Barrier methods to avoid pregnancy: condoms, penis in males, cervix in females, diaphragm, cervical caps, walls covers the cervix, reusable spermicidal creams, foams are used along to increase contraceptive efficiency. IUDs. Non-medicated ones are Lippes loops. Copper-releasing ones are COT, CO7, multirode 375. Copper ions release suppresses the sperm's motility and the fertilizing capacity of the sperms, while in the hormone-releasing the IUDs makes the uterus unsuitable for implantation and the cervix hostile to the sperms. MTPs, 45 million to 50 million performed per year, which is approximately 1/5 of the total pregnancies recorded. ART, which is artificial reproductive termination. इसमें दो categories हैं, in vitro and in vivo. In vitro means outside the body, in vivo means inside the body. In vitro के दो example is ZIFT and IUT, while in vivo के 3 examples are there, GIFT, ICSI and IUI. That completes the whole chapter. If you want me to do any changes or anything differently from next time which would help you to revise better, also comment down below the next chapter you want me to do. And lastly, this is a revision video, which the concept of it was like you can pop in your earphones anytime you want and just listen to it. It will help you memorize it better. That's what I'm doing it for myself too. Do not watch it if you want to understand anything. It's just for revision purpose. Thank you.